Well, hello again, and welcome to the Trim the Wick Podcast. I'm Dan.
And I'm Becky.
And we are with you again this week, and we are trying something completely new. And how do you like our little set that we've got? We've got kind of the beginnings of what we're going to be doing.
Right. For those of you that are audio only, we're in a corner of our living room, and we've got our chairs set up, and we've got a little stand in between us. And our daughter, one of the things that our daughter did for Christmas this year was she had us this laser etched logo done for us. So that's kind of front and center. We're really pleased with that. So.
Yeah, we're proud of that. And also, those of you who are watching can see that we have let the dogs loose. We were the ones that let the dogs out, so you might hear them on the audio broadcast. But if you want to see the pups,
well, at least one of them. The other ones.
At least one of them. They'll be out and about. Oh my goodness, Emmett!
Come here, bud.
So
relax.
Well,
Emmett needs lots of love. Can you tell?
Yeah, he's so depraved. Well, one of the things we wanted to talk about is that it kind of, there is a visual, and those of you who will be listening to the podcast, the thumbnail will kind of give you the visual, but for the last couple weeks, Becky and I have kind of been going through it, and we kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. We wanted to talk about, there's all the plans of mice and men, all those incredible, grandiose plans that you make and that you put together. Sometimes they just don't work out. Sometimes they fall apart. Sometimes we actually just make decisions and do things that fail. And what we wanted to talk about is sometimes you just kind of come up with an idea, you do something, or you're actually doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
And you just fail. You just don't do it, and it doesn't come across right, or it just doesn't happen. And as we are seeing.
And sometimes it's not even a failure point. Sometimes it's just a struggle point. Sometimes it's you're walking in what you're supposed to be walking in. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but it's hard, and it's not as smooth sailing as you expected it to be because you had put the plan in place and you're working the steps of the plan, right? And and you're doing the things, and you're watching your task list get checked off, but it's somehow harder than you ever expected it to be.
Yeah.
Well, and it's taking you longer than you thought it would. And it's,
Well, and I think that the expectations sometimes, I know for me, that's what I struggle with, is the expectations. Because I kind of grab things quickly, I learn things fast, I do things quickly. Whenever I've been in a job environment and I've been trained to do something new, or a new machinery or new software or new something, I pick it up real quick. Right. So I always have this mindset that whatever I do, it's going to happen real fast. Right. I'm gonna just sit down, I'm gonna learn it, I'm gonna know it, and it's gonna be successful. And you know what? That's not always the case. Matter of fact, majority of the time, that's not the case.
Even if you are grasping things and you are working things, sometimes outcomes and products take time.
Right. And so what we want to talk about today is we want to talk about what some of the things we've been going through. We want to kind of talk about how we have overcome some of these things. And hopefully help you, encourage you, because ultimately with Trim the Wick and with what we do with our podcasts and all these things is that we want to encourage, we want to help, we want to maybe give you guys some great nuggets of information and stuff that can move you guys forward so that you guys can do better and overcome when the world comes after you.
And to an extent, we want to let you know you're not alone. It's not, one of the things that we have talked about in doing these podcasts is that there are a lot of people out there who are doing podcasts from the perspective of being very, very polished.
Right.
And you only see them on their best days. And even when they're having bad days, they put their best forward. And not that you shouldn't be putting the best that you have forward, but sometimes the best that you have is your comfy clothes and your undone makeup
Right.
and your low ponytail, and you show up anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're actually not exaggerating what we're wearing today. This is what we've been wearing all day today.
Yep.
And doing work around the house and stuff. You know, I've got my Bucky's t-shirt and my fuzzy slippers on and stuff. And so, we want to come across to obviously tell you that this is real.
Right.
This is what it's really like for people. It's not an Instagram picture. It's not a polished thing. Your life is not going to be a polished thing. When you're doing things in life, it's not going to be polished.
Right.
It's going to be ugly sometimes. Sometimes it's going to be trial and error. Sometimes it's going to be failure. Sometimes it's going to be massive failure and regroup. But the idea is that you always fail forward. And also you have someone there to help encourage you, and a group or an individual that's going to help push you. I wanted to talk a little bit because I talked about already is that this thing for me that I've been really struggling with is that this expectation thing.
Right.
And like I said, usually when I do something, I think it's going to come really easy. Well, right now I'm in a situation where what I'm doing, I enjoy what I'm doing. I love talking to people and getting out there and sharing with people, but I'm getting rejected over and over and over again. And my expectation was, okay, it's been a month or two of me out there selling myself and selling some of the things that I do for Maxwell, that it would just be gobbled up. People would just like listen to me, and like I would woo them with my, words and stuff like that and ideas. And that's not what's happening. So there's a struggle there of that constant, what feels like or seems like failure.
Right.
And what it is, it's that my expectations were not the reality of what I was doing and what I was dealing with.
And everybody deals with that to some extent, where the expectation that you've set up in your mind isn't matching what the reality is.
Right.
And you have some options there because it does bring in feelings of I'm being rejected, or feelings of I'm disappointed with the outcomes. I was excited about better outcomes, and now I'm disappointed in the outcomes, or frustration but I need the outcome to be X, Y, Z, and I can't make it be that. And what am I going to do? So that weighs down on some trust issues. Do we trust God when we're frustrated and feel like we need something that we're not getting? There's a lot that can be wrapped up in that when reality isn't meeting what you expected it to be.
Exactly. Well, and I think here's the thing is that you hit on the thing of the, do I trust God? Do I trust my process? Do I trust what I've been told? Do I trust? And really, none of that is changed. None of that is wrong, because God is faithful
All the time.
I'm doing a process that I know is successful. There is, countless numbers of people who have done the exact same thing I've done.
And you yourself have seen progress in it. It's just not the degree or the volume that you were. Yeah.
And that's where, when you put expectation out there on something when you don't know, that's where you're going to run into some major problems. And here's the issues. For me, I'm dealing with rejection a lot right now. So what I need to have is my helpmate, who is with me, who is now encouraging me and standing beside me, because I think that's one of the big things for a lot of people is that when you start feeling rejection, you start turning inward.
Very much so. Yeah.
You start attacking yourself. You start questioning yourself and what am I doing? Then you start doing okay, I'm letting this person down. I'm failing here. I'm failing there. And,
spirals.
Right. And it just turns into this massive hole that you fall into. And this is where it is so important to have that individual or a group of individuals or a team that are supporting you, that are constantly giving you encouragement to build you up. And, that's some of the things that I've done. So if you're in that situation, if you're going through that, here's some of the things that I've done that have helped me tremendously. Number one is my amazing wife, who has been a constant source of encouragement, of standing by me, of telling me to continue to push forward, to tell me not to worry or get frustrated. That has been a major thing. And I think this is where, when you do major things in your life, you need to make sure you're in one.
Right. And we deal with this in our marriage series, that if you're going to be doing something, if you make a major life decision, like, hey, I'm going to go do Maxwell stuff.
Right. I'm going to start a new business.
If I'm going to start a new business, if you are married, you and your spouse need to be on the same page about that before you ever take step one to do it. Because, we have that saying in our marriage, we go together or not at all.
Yep.
And we wait until we're both on the same page before we take steps into things like that, because we know that when you step out into stuff like that, you have to be able to encourage one another.
Right.
And if one of you didn't agree with the decision to go there in the first place, that's going to be lacking.
Right.
So, that's in the spouse thing. But this it reaches out beyond spouses, though. Mm-hmm. You don't just need your spouse.
Right.
You have a mentor team.
Right. So, yes, through Maxwell, there's a mentor team there. There's a group of people there that I can send off emails to and get responses. There's Facebook groups that are there that are supporting. One of the things that I've also really leaned on is there's a lot of these networking, local networking groups, and it's small business owners helping out small business owners. And I know there's a lot of network groups out there that are just out for blood. They're out for, different things, but I've been able to find one or two here locally where it's really individuals who want to encourage each other, really want to build each other up. So I encourage you to do that. Find that, make sure you're on board with your spouse, so you and your spouse are working together on this. Make sure you have some form of sounding board where you can ask questions and get answers, and get yourself involved in a local group of some sort. It might not be a business thing. It might be a emotional support thing for dealing with elderly care or something like that.
Right. Whatever you're going through, there are peer groups that can encourage you that you're not alone.
Right.
What you're feeling is not out of line or unusual, but also, and it's important to find groups that will not just pat you on the head and say, yes, what you're feeling is normal, but that will go, okay, your feelings are normal, but here's some truth and here's some tools.
Right.
So that you don't just get in that wallowing place.
Exactly.
Your local church body ought to have some people that can help you along. Like Dan was saying, some community groups. There are, we've got friends who are dealing with elder care, and there are hospitals locally that offer support groups for, hey, do you have a loved one with dementia? Hey, do you have someone in hospice? Hey, do you have some? Look around, take a minute. Instead of wallowing in the pain that you're feeling or the frustration that you're at, reach out and find some people. It doesn't have to be huge numbers of people that are on your team, but you do need a team.
Yes. Yes. And we are transitioning for you because your downtime is now over. You're back into your season again. And with that, there's been also challenges that you've had to deal with.
Yeah, this was my first week back in the swimming pool. And those of you that are watching by video can see that I've got a splint on my right hand, and I'm right-handed. So that's interesting. But I hyperextended my thumb, which has created some weakness in the wrist, which makes it really interesting when you're holding up students who can't hold themselves up. And so it's created some challenges and has had some kind of domino effect things that has triggered some of my migraines. Yesterday, I spent most of the day on the couch, trying to deal with a migraine, and knowing that I have swim kids to take care of, and I have billing to send out, and I serve as the director of a nonprofit adaptive swim program whose registration opened this week. So I've got all of that to process. And And yet my body's kind of going, whoa, you got to take care of me.
Yeah.
And so again, similar mental outcomes to what you're dealing with of going, but I've got to get this stuff done. There are deadlines. There are people counting on me. My business is counting on me. If I don't teach swim, I don't have income. And there are some realities that come with not having income.
Yeah.
And all, but it's the same stuff that you were talking about, that you lean on, that I lean on. I have leaned heavily on you. I mean, yesterday, what was kind of cool about yesterday is that yesterday was a day out for Dan. He had networking meetings. He had sales, cold calls to go on. He had lots of stuff lined up for his day. And within about an hour and a half after you left the house for your stuff, my migraine came on. And I had a choice. I could reach out and completely alter your day and say, hey, please come home. Or I could go, you know what? I know he needs today.
Right.
And so I'm going to have to hang in there, but I know when he comes home, he's going to be 100% there for me.
Right.
And so that was where it was. I did what I could on my own. Sometimes we got to do that.
Yeah.
But knowing that I wasn't going to have to hold on by myself forever.
Right.
So knowing that you were going to be home was an encouragement to me. I was like, okay, I can take the meds. I can eat properly. I can, dark rooms and no sound helps me. I can do those things and I can hang in there until I can get help.
Right.
Knowing that help was coming. And you did. You came home and you were like, you swung right into action. You walked into the door. Y'all, he's a good guy. He saw me laying on the couch with my eyes covered up. He was like, okay, I'm out. I'm going to go get you the Coke that you need. What do you need to eat? Because sometimes things don't set well. And so he was like, what do you need me to get you to eat? Okay, done. He completely took everything off of my plate for the evening and let me go to bed early. And this morning, things are a lot better because he knows me. He knew how to swing in to support me. And you also knocked down those nagging things that I was like, but I'm failing this and I'm missing on that and this deadline. And he was like, you know what? Tomorrow's a new day and all of those things will wait. And so you need that.
Yeah.
You need somebody that's going to be able to go, yes, I'm by your side when you need me to be.
Right.
I see where you need support, and I also see where you need to go, you know what? It's okay. Don't go there.
Yeah.
Here's truth.
Well, and here's one of the things that I've struggled with a couple times. I've actually gone and almost become too helpful, and I actually get you frustrated because I'm actually now getting in the way. But I think that's one of the things that I've learned over the years is that when you're in that situation, I need to provide certain things that get you to a certain area that build you up to where then you can take over. And so I'm not trying to do too much. I'm not trying to fix you. I'm not trying to go, oh, okay, so you didn't get your emails done, so let me jump in and start doing your emails for you. It's like that would do nothing but frustrate you. That's not helpful at all. And I think that's one of the things over the years, again, 33 years of marriage, that's one of the things that over time we learn how to aid each other and support each other by doing what's necessary and doing enough without overdoing it.
Without going, I'm going to completely take over. Yeah. And one of the things that we both tend to do for each other well, and again, it may be your spouse that's this person in your life, it may be a family member, it may be a friend, it may be a networking support group, whoever it is in your life that can speak truth to you when you're down.
Right.
You need that. And one of the things that we help each other out with greatly is getting out of those mental loops.
Yeah.
Of going, well, but see, if this doesn't get done, then this isn't going to get done, and then it's going to domino into this, and we're projecting worst case scenarios instead of dealing with the reality that I have a headache, you know?
Yeah.
And stopping those things short by speaking truth to them, which again is where it is so important to have your faith foundation solid,
Right.
so that you recognize when you're spiraling into lies, and so that you're able to receive truth when it's spoken to you.
Yeah.
And you're able to go, okay, Lord, I hear that. That was truth. And so now I'm going to rest
Right.
in truth. All the feelings have to become subject to the truth.
Right.
And that's where you're able to stop that downward slide.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in a meeting a couple weeks ago, and the gentleman who was talking, he made the comment that research that 85% of the things that you think about, that you dwell on and worry about, 85% of those things don't ever come to pass.
Right.
Don't even like appear at all. So if you're spiraling and you start thinking about it, the majority of the thoughts that you have, if they're negative, the majority of the thoughts you have are, all they're going to do is pull you down.
Right.
And it makes you really think about that passage of scripture where he said, you need to take every thought captive.
Yeah.
And you really need to make sure that if I'm thinking something, or if I'm dwelling on something, is this even true? Is this helpful? Is this going to get me out of the situation or get me out of the hole and that I'm going down? And if it's not, we need to get rid of it.
Let go of it. Yeah. Let it
Take
go.
it captive and throw it out.
Yep. Lock it away and say, no, you have no place here. And sometimes you may feel crazy when you're doing it, but sometimes that, for me, that becomes a legitimate spoken thing of, no, I'm not going to receive that thought. I reject that thought. That is not true. And I reject it. And there's power in that, y'all. If you verbalize that I am not going to come into agreement with that nonsense, it helps you to tangibly do that. It's almost like it gives your mind something to hang on to go, okay, I made a physical, verbal declaration there. And so now I feel that it's true. It's not just knowing that it's true. I can feel that it's true.
Well, again, it's that thing that we've talked about with faith. It is putting a strength and building that faith that, you know what? Okay, if this is what God told me, or this is what I believe, it has been solidified in my brain.
Right. And this is part of how you talk about failing forward. This is how you fail forward. Me having a migraine yesterday was kind of a failure on the business level of things. I didn't get my business necessities done. It was a failure.
Right.
But because it was dealt with productively, because I didn't let the migraine become more than a migraine.
Right.
It didn't become a mental psychological hole down which I fell. It didn't become a weight that I carried on my shoulders of guilt and condemnation that I didn't do what I wanted to do. Because I was able to put those things into proper perspective, stand on truth, and take care of my body that needed taken care of.
Right.
Then today, I'm way more forward. Everything that needed to be done yesterday is now done.
Right.
I'm feeling 1,000% better.
Yeah.
And we can walk forward out of this.
Yeah. And that's, again, going back to that spiraling thing, is that when we get into those situations and you start spiraling, you stop seeing the progression you're making.
Right.
I'm having conversations. I'm going out and talking to people, and I do a lot of cold calling right now. And I can tell you, from 2 weeks ago to 2 months ago, my cold calling is totally different now than what it was then, because I've learned over time how to talk to people to actually, where I'm not selling them something.
Right.
I'm actually having a conversation. I'm now starting to talk to office managers and those people who are doing hiring and things like that. Excuse me. And I'm starting to make it to those second level individuals and third level individuals where at the beginning I wasn't doing any of that. And that is where I'm learning, I'm growing. You continue to move forward. You continue to take these things that you go through, whatever they are, and you learn from them, and then you progress and you move forward.
Right.
And a lot of times that's what it takes.
Right.
That is the magic pill, as they say, what is the magic formula? Well, the magic formula is failing a lot of times and learning
keeping going anyway.
And learning from your failures and keeping going.
Yeah.
And adapting and growing. That is the magic formula.
It is.
And,
it's the don't stop. It's the what? If it's a day when you're in your sweats and your shirt that you painted in the other day, and if that's the way you need to show up because that's the best you have to offer that day,
yep.
Then that's the best that you offer. And it may not be the best that you had 2 weeks ago when, man, you were able to do the full face of makeup, the full hair, and you were stylish and really, really polished. That may not be your best today.
Right.
And it's okay to give yourself grace that today's best is what you offer today.
Exactly.
And not condemn yourself for it not being what yesterday's best was or what your projected, expected best is.
Right. Well, guys, we hope this helped you guys out this week. We know it's struggle, just living life, going through everything. And, we live in a fallen world where it's hard. We plow the ground, and with the sweat of our brow, and sometimes we just need to have that encouraging talk. So we hope this encouraged you guys. Couple things we want to just throw out to you guys. We are excited about our website, trimthewick.com. There is a lot of good stuff on there. I've got all my Maxwell stuff that we are doing for leadership, for personal development. If you're looking for someone to help pull some things out of you, you want to learn some better communication styles or better communication ways, all that's on the website where we can work with you and help you out. Also Becky's blogs, we have all the podcasts on there. It's also a place where you can support our work in Kenya if you want to be a part of that work, and you can support Becky and I doing what we're doing right here, and that's doing the podcast and doing the vlog casting or whatever this is that we're doing. And I cannot believe, I want you all to know that the dogs have been out with us the entire time, and we heard from them for a few minutes and stuff, but usually we're locking the dogs away and just showing the stress that we put on ourselves for no reason sometimes is we usually end up locking the dogs in the other room and stuff so we can record. But they've been with us the whole time.
Literally, one of them is laying on Dan's feet right now. You can't see it, I don't think. But
Kona's at my feet, and Emmett's sitting on the couch, just laying there. So, sometimes we stress about things we don't need to. So relax, show yourself some grace, fail forward this week. There you go. That sounds like good advice. All right, love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.